Well, that was an extremely difficult loss today from the San Francisco 49ers as they played the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Kansas City Chiefs pretty much dominated after the San Francisco 49ers went on a 10-0 run. After that, the 49ers couldn't really get a whole lot going. Obviously, they were able to get the scoring drive to George Kittle. That was a pretty nice drive that they had down the field. But other than that, it was just a really awful day on all phases. It felt like you had the turnover on special teams, but you gave up right out of the half the really big return that turned into additional yardage tacked on because Jauan Jennings had an unnecessary roughness penalty out of bounds. Jimmy Garoppolo got sacked 5 times, one of them being a safety. But just in general, the whole vibe and energy of this game was just off. I don't know what it was. Every time the 49ers would put themselves in a position, it was like they would either just fumble the opportunity that they had gotten themselves into at that point. Offensive line had trouble. Defense had a really difficult time stopping Patrick Mahomes. They only got to Patrick Mahomes one time, and that was on a Nick Bosa sack. Overall, just a really, really poor game. Not the way you wanted to see it play out. The game was over in the middle of the fourth quarter. Pretty much the entire stands were emptied. Just not a good performance by the San Francisco 49ers in regards to execution, in regards to rhythm, vibe, energy. It's really hard to put your finger on it because obviously when you talk about teams underperforming, you're always going to look at execution. You're going to look at missed opportunities. You're going to look at those types of things. But there's just a vibe about this team that just, it's weird. Like you can feel it like rolling the wrong direction, and it's like you know it's coming, and it's like you try to think like it's not going to happen, but it just spirals out of control. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey debuted today, but the debut wasn't all that special because the 49ers got boat raced by Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So the 49ers fall to 3-4. Not where you want to be at this point in the season. We talked about this game all week, thinking that this was going to be a great measuring stick game. Well, the measuring stick tells us that the San Francisco 49ers got a whole lot of work left to do. They're not even close to where they need to be if they truly want to compete in the playoffs, compete in division, and do all those types of things. So there's a lot of work to be done on both sides of the football. Mike McGlinchey gave up a couple sacks, turnovers on strip sacks. The offensive line wasn't really opening up a ton of running lanes. You had some drop passes by your wide receivers, sacks by the, partly on the O-line, but you had Jimmy Garoppolo create some sacks as well. It's just a poor day by everyone involved. Obviously, they are dealing with injuries, but that's not an excuse. It just wasn't a good game. Overall, again, defense, Greenlaw goes out, and, they aren't able to really stop much of anything. Mecole Hardman has 3 touchdowns, and I feel like they were all on sweeps. And when you're watching it in the stadium, it just felt like the defense had no clue that the ball was potentially going to go to Mecole Hardman. Clyde Edward CEH, I'll say it like that. He had a touchdown rush. It was just killer game. A lot of opportunities wasted for the 49ers. Overall, just not good. This one's going to leave a bad taste in our mouths for the rest of the week. We'll see. Rams next week. It's big games back-to-back. We'll see if they can take care of it. But overall, just not a good win for the San Francisco 49ers.